Hello, everybody, and today for Batman the Animated Series, I'm reviewing Showdown. So, this episode doesn't really have Batman in it. It's an episode where we see a completely different DC character. The only time by the time this episode came out, there's really only been one character outside of the main Batman roster of characters that we've seen. It was Satana. Now we got Jonah Hex, who would later appear in Justice League Unlimited in the Once and Future Thing episode, which I definitely really want to talk about in the future of the channel. But, yeah, this episode was alright. It wasn't my favorite episode, but it was definitely a different episode for sure, because it had Jonah Hill in it. I don't know much about Jonah Hill. He's basically a character from, like, the 1800s, the Western times, I guess, of the DC world. And he has, like, a scarred face and an eye. And he's old in this version, but he's tracking down a criminal who's revealed to be, at the end of the episode, spoilers, it's revealed to be Ra's al Ghul's son. So I wasn't actually expecting it to be Ra's al Ghul's son, since we know he only has Talia. But it turns out the criminal that Jonah Hex was hunting down was revealed to be his son. And Ra's was basically able to outlive his son, but he managed to keep him alive for 100 years. But we see this heist go down in this episode when Batman and Robin track down one of the ninjas at trying to break in somewhere for Ra's, and they find a cassette tape and they listen to it in the Batmobile, and that's where we do get flashbacks of Jonah Hex, and he basically takes the stage in this entire episode. We see, I guess you can say, a younger Ra's al Ghul in the 1800s. I wasn't actually expecting him to show up in the 1800s. I thought this episode was going to have Jonah Hex be a character in the main timeline of the DC AU, but it turns out I honestly did forget that he did appear in Once and Future Thing, but that was technically an alternate timeline since Kronos was traveling through time and he was just messing everything up, leading to Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern John to team up with him in that Western episode. But the way Ra's looks as a Western dude definitely really works. I like the little, like, eyeglass thing that he has, the hat, and his son. I love the mustache. It kind of reminds me of, like, Tombstone, the movie with Val Kilmer, who also played Batman. Rest in peace to him, of course. But we also see Jonah Hex's girlfriend in this episode. I think the actress who played her passed away when this episode did come out, since she unfortunately passed away of cancer. So rest in peace. I was watching the Batman review and I found out through that video. So I honestly thought it was the voice of Catwoman who voiced that character in this episode, but nah, it's completely different. But the heist goes down when Jonah Hex manages to track down the criminals at, like, on this train that has, like, a bunch of the goons come out, and Jonah's basically able to take them all down in a very badass way, and he's able to track down the son of Ra's al Ghul. But we think that's it, and we even see Jonah Hex say that he's getting too old for this. But once our characters do go up in the present, they basically meet up with Ra's al Ghul, and we think it's going to be a fight, but that's where we do learn that Ra's kept his son alive, but he's barely functioning, and even Robin is shocked and was fascinated by the story, but he was shocked to see that the son has been alive all these centuries later. But because Ra's isn't really committing any crimes, Batman is forced to let him go, and the episode does end, I guess you can say, on a good note. I don't know if this is the last time we see Ra's in this show, since I don't think he appears in the new Batman Adventures, but he does show up in the Superman episode, and then later he would show up in Batman Beyond. But I think, yeah, I think this would be considered the last episode with Ra's al Ghul. I'd have to look it up since there's only 7 episodes left. But yeah, this episode was definitely an interesting one. It was definitely different from the usual Batman episodes. It was cool to see, like, I guess you can say a crossover episode with Jonah Hex, since we don't really expect to see a character like him show up. But this is like the slow, like, step towards the DCAU's connection to other superheroes at the time. Before, years later, we did get Superman the Animated Series, and then the new Batman Adventures, and then eventually the DCAU. So, yeah, this is like an early start to it. So I'd probably give this episode probably a 7 out of 10. But the next episode is the last Riddler episode of the show in the original run. But I got some things to say about it, so be on the lookout for that. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.